This video is prepared according to the syllabus of KTU, course subject Web Technologies, course code CS368. Today we are going to discuss about Introduction to XML that is included in 5th module. This is the syllabus. The syllabus is organized into two parts, that is XML part and JavaScript object notation part. So we will concentrate the first part in this session. In this session, we will start with introduction, then we will see the syntax of XML, and XML document structure, XML declaration, document type definition, that is DTD, XML elements, XML namespace, XML schema. Then at the end of this session, we will do the comparison between HTML and XML. Also, one more comparison we will do, that is document type definition, document, that is XML schema definition, and finally we will wind up the session. Before we start discussing about XML, you should know what is XML. XML stands for Extensible Markup Language. It is nothing but software and hardware independent tool for storing and transporting data. So its main purpose is for storing and transporting data. To understand the structure of XML, let us see sample XML just by comparing HTML and all of you are familiar with HTML format and it has got different tags. But the difference here is, here also we have tags, but all are user defined tags. So we can define our own tags according to our convenience. For example, I want to give a message like don't forget to submit assignment. So this is just like a reminder for submitting the assignment. So actually what it is, something like a note or some, or you can here also you can put you can start one what is called that is opening tag. You can put here anything according to your convenience, that can be note or message or whatever you want, you can write here. So same thing you need to close here. That is the thing. The important thing you need to remember here is this is case sensitive. If you write small letters, in the sense here also closing tag also should be small. Okay, so whom should I send? To students. So here too you need to specify. Here I told no, the tag you can specify according to your convenience, but same thing you need to close here. That is important. Otherwise that won't work. Who is sending that message? Myself, no. So from, similarly heading, and this is what this is actually heading, and similarly you need to close the tag properly. Body of the message, this is the body, you need to close it. Only this much. Okay, this is about this thing. This is actually definition. This is optional anyway. We are going to discuss about the definition part and all one by one. This is about small XML, one simple XML. Now we are going to discuss about XML syntax. We have seen just now a simple example. In the example, the first part, this is the example we discussed. The first part, that is declaration part. Then we have discussed root tag, closing of that. Similarly, we should have a root tag. So similar format. Then we can have internally we have a child tag, then subchild tag, like that. We have different tags. This is the general syntax of XML. Now we are in a position to discuss XML document structure. An XML document consists of three different parts: an XML declaration, document type definition, that is DTD, and body. Here XML declaration and document type definition are optional, but body is required. Now we are in a position to discuss about XML declaration. So already I have mentioned that XML declaration is optional. If you are using optional, we need to follow some certain rules. So it should start from angle bracket as shown like this, and then angle bracket, question mark, and small letters XML. Then you need to close the angle bracket. This is the format you need to follow. But the important thing you have to remember here is there is no space in between this angle bracket, question mark, and all. There is no space. This is the format you need to follow. So what for we declare this? XML declaration identifies it is an XML document. That is the advantage of that declaration. Okay. Then one more thing is, declaration also indicates whether the document can be validated by referring to an external document type definition. It is essential for the validation. Most of the cases validation is very important. That can be done using an external file in our system itself, or using some other files you can access using URL and all. Uniform resource identifiers are there. That way we can access the file. That is also importance of XML declaration. Now we are going to discuss about symbol declaration format and all. So this is one symbol declaration. So minimum requirement is this thing. This is the format. Here version is specified, but it should be within quotes. We need to specify. Then already I have seen that important thing is we can validate it by referring to an external document type definition. So we need to specify, is there an external DTD or not? So here that can be specified by using yes or no. This is that is by just by specifying it is standalone. Yes, that means there is no associated DTD. It's not standalone in the sense there is an external DTD available. DTD is available. That is document type definition. External thing is available. That is what the meaning. Okay, that depends on the external DTD. That's the meaning. Another, this is about version, that standalone parameter and all. Then another thing is encoding. So what type of encoding you are using, you need to specify. In most of the cases, that is HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, SQL and all, that Unicode used is UTF-8. These are ASCII based documents. This is the standard format we use. That is why we need to include encoding as UTF-8. In the last slide, we have discussed the declaration part, that is in the first line, and here we are going to discuss about document type definition. This should come in the second line. The purpose of this declaration is to announce the root element to provide the location of the DTD. So DTD file we can have in our system. Also we can host somewhere in other system. That can be personal or official or even public accessing type, whether broadcasting, research oriented things. These all according to the type of DTD, that can be anything. The general syntax for this document type definition, that is DTD, is document root element. We need to specify the system or public according to what type we use. It can be external or internal declaration. Okay, so the system in this sense normally used for personal or official purposes. That time we need to specify system, and further broadcasting and research oriented, that type of publicly we want to access in that sense, that cases we can specify it as a public. Let's see some examples. Now first consider the case of DTD and XML document reside in the same directory, that is there in our system. So we need to specify the path. This way we can specify. Here the name of the file is employees.dtd. Here you need to specify the path. If it is in the same directory, means you can write, otherwise you can specify the path. Consider other case that is hosted in some other system, and there that URL you need to specify properly. Then where properly, in the sense proper URL you need to give. This is an example for that. Another thing is I told now that publicly we can access DTD related things. There, this is an example for accessing NASA related one link. This case we need to specify the corresponding URL. That is uniform resource identifier you need to specify. This is an example for that. This is about document type definition, but exact file DTD files and all we will discuss later. This is an introduction. Now we are going to discuss about XML elements. So XML elements refers what we include within that start tag and end tag. So that is called XML element. So as I mentioned earlier, XML elements are case sensitive. See, this one tag letter starts with capital letter L. That is not same as letter, small letter. So this is different from this letter, not same. Also, that another tag we can consider message. So while closing this thing, anyway we need to properly close. So it should be same tag and it should be closed. properly it should be properly it should that elements must be properly nested with each other. So here, here, then here, here. So properly we need to tags and all properly we need to close. Okay. Then elements can have attributes, name value pairs like that, name value pair, date, value pair. This is value. This way we can include also. We need, that should be specified in quotes. This is about XML elements. This is an example for that. So here we have root tag, bookstore, closing we have done here. So internally we have two child tags. So here this book as an attribute specified here, and here bookstore and books both are having element contents, both are having elements contents, and these tags, title tag, author tag, year tag, price tag and all, that consists of text contents like, see, book category, computer in the sense, title, programming in C, author, Dr. Sabu George, then year of publication, cost. This is about this particular tag, that is here the content is like that. Similarly, you see the next tag, category, that is civil, title, basic civil engineer, author, Ninja Sabu, year of publication, price and all. This way we can, these are the XML elements specified. Also, the advantage of XML is XML elements are extensible. Elements can be extended to carry more information. For example, this from this XML we need to add still more data. See here, that is not specified. You want to add here, see, that is not specified, that is not there. So what you need to do is you can add the date here. In different ways you can do. One possible way is you can specify here date is equal to this one. That is another possible way is in separate tag itself you can specify like this. That is also possible. Or individual tags you can put. For date one tag, month another tag, year another tag, like that. Different tags you can put. That is also. This is the beauty of XML. While writing XML, we may face some problems. For example, see this thing. Other tags and all fine, message is there properly, that is closed. Here in between, what is specified? Mark is less than 40. Here, that less than, if it's the less than symbol, that may confuse it is beginning of tag or not. That time it may raise error message. To avoid that problem, we can write like this: marks ampersand LT semicolon 40. This this type of errors we can rectify by including predefined entity references in in XML. These are the things for less than, greater than, and ampersand, apostrophe, quotation mark, and all. This is about predefined entity references in XML. Another important thing is if you write hello Sabu in HTML, output will be like this, whereas in XML that white space will be like that. So white space is preserved here in the XML. Okay, clear now? This is clear, right? Now we are going to discuss about XML namespaces. Suppose we want to design a table for describing the subjects, computer science, electronics, some other subjects also. We have to have a table to describe these whole things, that is to list different subjects. So the similar thing we discussed in the HTML, that table we are specifying here. Okay, this is actually one particular developer named the tag as table for describing the subjects, for listing the subjects. Another developer has given a name table, that is same name, for describing the furniture. Furniture that can be, that is furniture in the table, dining table, study table, and all that type of furniture here specified. So the problem is, if you try to merge these two developers, if you want to access data, or if you want to process the data, some merging or something like that, processing, they are naturally element name conflicts occur. That should be avoided, because here this table means furniture table. Here actually the HTML what we have defined, that type of table. We need to differentiate this. Okay, to solve this problem, we need to prefix something. See, for example, here that computer science, electronics, and this is actually a list of table. That is, we can say it's HTML table or list table or whatever it may be. You need to prefix something. So this H, this is to show this is HTML table. Okay, and here another this thing, so dining table and all we specified. This is actually for, we need furniture table. That way we need to prefix. So the problem is solved here. This is called namespaces in XML. This is namespace. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about valid XML documents. Here, for DTD defines the structure, legal elements, and attributes of an XML elements that already we discussed. Here, to understand the valid thing, we should know what format exactly we follow in the DTD. Let us see an example. Just we will consider this example. So already we are familiar with this particular line, that is actually declaration part. Second thing is DTD document definition. Okay, here we specified This is what the DTD file, and here path is not specified, that means in the root directory itself. Now what is there in the DTD? That is what we are going to discuss about here. Initially this is the not.dtd file. The content in the first line itself, it is specified document type not, that defines that root element of the document is not. This is the root element. Now next thing is, this is the thing, this element, this refers that root element not contains the elements to from heading, body and all. That is what the meaning of this. The next element that defines, that is of 2, that is of type parsable character data. Again, from is also parsable character data. Heading is also like that, body is also like that, is what the meaning. Clear now? So this is called valid XML documents. Okay, this is an example for that. Now we are going to discuss about XML schema. XML schema is nothing but a language which is used for expressing constraint about XML documents. Relax NG, XSD, that is XML schema definition, are examples of XML schema languages. It's an alternative to document type definition, that is DTD. It is used to check whether the given XML document is well formed or validated one. Extension of schema file is .xsd. The purpose of XML, another purpose of XML schema is to define legal building blocks of XML document. How the elements and attributes that can appear in the document, then order or number of the child elements, data types of elements and attributes, then also that default or fixed values of attributes, whether the default color we need to specify it as, or it should be fixed one that we need to specify. Also, XML schema supports data types. It is easier to describe allowable document content. It's easy to validate the correctness of data. So it is easy to define the restrictions on data, different data formats we can define. It is easy to convert data between different data types. Also, XML schema are extensible. It is possible to reuse our schema in other schemas. We can create our own data types derived from the standard types. Reference to multiple schemas in the same document. This is all possible with the XML schema. Now we are going to discuss about an example of XML schema. Here the element name beginner's book defines beginner's book is the name of an element. This is of type complex. And this refers, this is a sequence of elements. This particular thing refers to is of type string. This defines from is of type string. This refers that element name subject is of type string. Similarly, the element name message is of type string. This is about an example of XML schema. Now we are going to discuss about XML schema data types. So data types can be grouped into simple type and complex types. Simple type allows to have text based elements. It contains list attributes, child elements, and cannot be left empty. Whereas in the case of complex type, that allows to hold multiple attributes and elements. It can contain additional sub elements and can be left empty. XML schema has got a number of built-in data types. Let's see most common types: string, decimal, integer, boolean, date, time, etc. These are the commonly used data types. Now let's see some symbol element definition. See, for example, we need to define name, age, date of birth and all. In the case of name, we can specify string, age, integer we can specify. Then in the case of date of birth, date we can specify. This is about symbol element definitions. Another thing is, we can also define some default values or fixed values. And suppose we not need to specify if color is not specified, default value we need to set some default color value. See, for example, default you want to set red, in the sense you need to specify default red. Okay, there automatically default value will be assigned. And also it is possible to fix some fixed value like this, automatically assigned to the element. And there the thing is, default value means we can alter the value. Here if you fix the value means that cannot be changed. That is the thing. This is about XML schema data types. Now we are going to discuss about checking of validation. XML document is called well formed if it contains the correct syntax and also it is validated against XML schema. It can be done with the help of, or it can be done using a website called xmlvalidation.com that validates XML file against the schema. Now we are going to display the XML. One important thing we need to remember here is XML is to store data. There actually it contains data only. We can open the file using some editor and all, and we can view what is the content of there, what is there in that we can see. Otherwise, there is one website called XML Viewer. Using that also we can see the content of that XML file. So this site also helps to convert XML files to JavaScript object notation format. That anyway we will see in the next classes. That is also included in your syllabus. This is about displaying of XML. Now we are going to see the differences between HTML and XML. HTML is used to display data and focuses on how data looks. XML is used to transport and store data. It focuses on what data is. HTML is a markup language itself, whereas HTML provides a framework to define markup languages. In the case of HTML, it is not case sensitive. If you write in capital or small, that will accept. Whereas XML is case sensitive, means that tags and all, if you specify that beginning tag, if you specify small in the sense, that ending also you need to specify same tag in the same case. In the case of HTML, it is a presentation language, whereas XML is neither a presentation language nor a programming language. In the case of HTML, it has got own predefined tags, whereas XML we can define our own tag according to our convenience. In the case of HTML, that will work even though if you didn't close the closing tag. But in the case of XML, it is mandatory to use closing tag. In the case of HTML, it is static because it is used to display data, whereas XML is dynamic because it is used to transport data. Another important point is in the case of HTML, it does not preserve white spaces, whereas XML preserve white spaces. Now we are going to discuss the differences between document type definition and XML schema definition. In the case of document type definition that are defined from HTML syntax, whereas XSTs are written in XML. DTD does not support data type. XST supports data type for elements and attributes. DTD doesn't support namespace, whereas XST supports namespace. DTD doesn't define order for child elements, whereas XST defines order for child elements. DTD is not extensible. XSD is extensible. DTD is not simple to learn. XSD is simple to learn because you don't need to learn new language. DTD provides less control on XML structure, whereas XSD provides more control on XML structure. So now we are going to wind up the section. These are the references. Thank you. Thank you for watching my video.